Good afternoon and welcome to the Appliance webinar. My name is Poulsen and I'm Director of Business Development in Boston, UK. The main presenter is Don Lopes, VP of Marketing in Nexenta. We also have Amos, PC's Nexenta UK on the call. So in collaboration with Seagate, Supermicro and Nexenta, we have developed a number of appliances. Very exciting appliances, actually. They come as all flash for high I/O performance, hybrid tool for virtual environments, for example, and online disk archiving. You will see that the appliances are easy to install, deploy, easy to consume, and easy to support. Now, when Don has finished his presentation, we will be open for questions, so please ask any questions you might have with the chat line. Without further ado, I hand over to Don. Here you go, Don.
Bjorn, thank you so much for the introduction. Greatly appreciate the opportunity and time here today to really speak to the partners and some prospects and customers in the UK. Really, again, excited about this opportunity because I think, between Boston, Supermicro, Seagate, and Nexenta, we've put together, I think, a rather attractive solution that provides a lot of the value in each of our organizations, while in a lot of cases simplifying things for our partners and our customers. So with that, I'm going to spend about the next 30 minutes or so walking through a little bit of setting the table on the solution in which we've pulled together, diving into some of those details around the solution itself, and then I'll tease a little bit. Bjorn's gonna highlight a bit of some exciting things we're doing together to make this attractive for everybody here on the call. So with that, as Bjorn mentioned, please, we do want to make this as interactive as possible. We do have the lines muted to avoid background noise, but please use the chat function there, and Amos and myself will bring your questions into the discussion. And with that, let's get right into the slides themselves. So as I mentioned a second ago, what we've really tried to do, again, in partnership with Boston Supermicro and Seagate here at Nexenta, is look at how we really bring the value of each of our organizations and really try to simplify and provide a scalable architecture that really gains all the value of a software-defined model, but really tries to simplify a lot of the maybe perceived challenges or challenges that may have been out there in the past by really leveraging our great relationship with Boston and Supermicro. So if we look at some of those challenges that I'm sure you as resellers out there, or as organizations looking at your data center and how you go and look at different technologies to support some of the workloads in which you need to really deliver and support your business. We kind of really look at how we with this solutions address sort of three core areas, right? How we really make this something that is very simple, agile, and provides you the options that you need, while addressing something that I think is very important in this architecture, which is allowing you to lower your overall total cost of ownership. We make sure that we really provide the enterprise features that you need for your business, and we'll go deeper into that here in a little bit later. And then one thing we've really worked hard to try to do is, again, bring the value and the flexibility that Boston, Supermicro, Seagate, and Nexenta bring, but really try to deliver this in a familiar, appliance-like manner, with integration into the architectures that you have in your environments, so that we maybe take out some of the guesswork or take out some of the moving parts. So if you look at the technology in which we're leveraging in partnership with Boston and Supermicro, what we've done is gone and looked at a form factor that is really trying to make it something that's much more dense, much more compact, and a bit of an all-in-one, at least starter type of environment. So we've got a couple different form factors from all flash to hybrid and all disk that really provides you that functionality around full redundancy, provides you all the key features that you need in a unified and file and block solution. And then we've wrapped in the service and support from a hardware, software, and installation standpoint that hopefully really make this a simple, easy, all-in-one technology for you to offer to your customers or to consume within your environments. So if you look at the architecture itself, what it's really made up of is and for those of you that might be familiar a little bit with Nexenta, is a high availability or a 2-controller cluster with the storage built into that 2U or 4U form factor. So the nice thing is, through some of the starter packs in which we're gonna go into the details here towards the end, you have a nice condensed storage enclosure that allows you to have high availability, have your full enterprise feature set, and the performance based on really the environments and workloads in which you need for that. We've also really tried to make this very modular in the approach. And so what you'll see as we get into some of the details is we have the base units as we discussed there. And on the flash slide, we've given you sort of 2 different options based on capacity and performance, either being a 1.9 terabyte SSD or a 3.84 terabyte SSD, or via some hybrid configurations that bring the flash and spinning disk into that single enclosure, and then really allow simple expansion chassis to scale as your growth needs or as really your capacity needs may grow immediately or over time. And we've really done this, again, all as a very familiar appliance type model, and so that we've really simplified the ordering process and the skewing process for all of this, so that if you're starting with some simple base units, you've got single SKUs that include hardware, software, services, and then as you look to expand, it's easy adding incremental SKUs for the expansion chassis to grow that capacity, again, either up front or over time. So to get a little bit more into detail, we've tried to really provide a set of architectures and solutions that really meet different workloads needs, right? So we've got on one end of the spectrum a small form factor with, as I mentioned, 2 different capacity drives in that allow you to really support smaller capacity, higher performance, or if you're looking at maybe a little bit higher capacity but trying to get all flash performance for maybe multiple workloads into an environment, we've got a solution and system that supports that. We've got a couple different hybrid configurations, one more on the performance side and one more a bit on the capacity side, and I'll go into the details around that here in a second. And then what we've also done is built a archive solution that leverages some of the larger drives out there from Seagate and allows you to hit some of the higher capacities for maybe those environments that may need your file share or your backup or your disaster recovery in those larger capacities and lower cost structures.
So Don, I was just going to interject before you move on to the next slide, just kind of mix things up a bit. So it is a fantastic little package. So normally we'd have a couple of head nodes, a couple of individual physical servers, you'd have JBODs, but by using the SBB model, we can fit everything into a really compact 2U chassis. So everything's in there. You can choose the capacity and the disk types, whether it's SSD, whether it's hybrid, mixture of SSD and hard disk drive, or whether it's high capacity disk drives for highly scalable solutions. It's a turnkey solution, meaning that you've got the licensing, you've got the hardware, you've got the installation, you've got the support, and all you need to do is literally choose the I/O, the connectivity. This is a unified storage solution, supports both file and block. So the way you facilitate that is by choosing the host bus adapters that you put into the PCI slots at the back of this great little bundle.
Appreciate that, Amos, and I think that ties right to this slide here. I think one thing we've really tried to do that that I think is really great as we bring this solution together is around our latest version of our NexentaStor. So this is really our core flagship solution, 5th generation product, is look at simplicity, right? And still obviously important in giving you the full functionality that you require, but looking at how we make that day in, day out user experience much richer. For those of you who might not be familiar with NexentaStor, again, as we've mentioned a couple of times here, it's a file block unified technology that's offering you an FS, system SMB support, and then on the block side, iSCSI and fiber channel. Really, we've over the years built a feature set we feel supports the needs and the workloads in which we've really excelled in our customers. So it's got everything from, again, as it mentions here, inline data reduction, snapshots, clones, thin provisioning. We've also in the 5.0 version enhanced some added features too, along with, as I mentioned, the user experience and management framework of offering features like quality of service. We talk about replication, but we've also introduced a high performance replication for those that need really, scheduling and or really continuous replication for their environments. And then another thing, again, we'll show here in a second, we've with this latest version tried to really evolve the ecosystem integration environments like VMware, OpenStack, Docker, and others to make sure that as those workloads where you are integrating or others are looking and working in other environments, we're easily able to snap the storage right into that. And one thing we've done, and again in partnership with the folks at Supermicro, is try to make the hardware components within the user interface extremely simple and easy, and something that, again, as you are managing this day in, day out, you have the abilities to get really the intelligence that you need. And so what you see in this actually snapshot, if you look at the user interface in the back, you can see there's really the different drives that are in this solution. You see across sort of that one piece there, it has all of the green lights. If one of those were say a failed drive or something like that, you'd get a status update within this interface. You could easily then blink those drives to be able to see that. And then again, here you could see also the chassis itself with the drives there. So you have them numbered, and you could easily step right to that piece and go ahead and update and replace those drives as necessary. So we've tried to really build, again, the integration and use on a day in, day out much richer and easier for folks as they're really working with the hardware and software solutions together.
So just interjecting, Don. So
yeah.
I think the key thing here is that you've got a full feature set which comes bundled within the appliance. All of these different features, including replication verification to a 50-minute recovery point objective, which is all included within the licensing of this product. So no additional licensing to buy, it's all bundled in the product.
Yeah, Amos, that's a great point. I mean, even the high availability piece is bundled in this too, right? So it's something that if you've built your own or worked on other Nexenta solutions traditionally as a separate line item, again, we try to simplify this to a single SKU. You'll see here in a second that incorporates the software, the hardware, and the services all in one. I touched on a second ago a little bit about the enhancements around our Nexenta user interface. Really, the architecture behind this is really built off of self-documenting REST APIs. So it really is giving us a platform for flexibility. But I think the exciting thing we've seen with some of our customers is it also gives them the flexibility as they want to either do deeper analytics on their storage or integrate into other environments. The other components here, again, you'll see is the user interface itself. So here in this snapshot, you'll see a very nice, clean architecture where if you've got multiple different Nexenta solutions in your environment, you can go ahead and really see those appliances or storage within your single pane of glass and environment, and drill into the different analytics through our analytics canvas. And the nice thing about this, you can look at it from the system itself. You can look at it from a higher overall environment, and these canvases are very customizable. So depending on really your needs as an administrator or different roles in your IT organization, folks can really drill into each of those. And then another piece that we've invested a great deal on the 5.0 version is the integration with VMware, and so really tried to integrate and utilize the framework that is familiar for those virtual administrators, so that they could easily carve out storage that they need for different workloads and different needs in that simple user interface, so that they, again, in those cases, may not have to leverage the environment which the storage administrators are working in Nexenta, but have something that's simple, easy, and gives them really the intelligence they need to successfully incorporate the storage in their virtual environments. So when we drill down into the different workloads that we've designed these solutions for, we really have tried to look at the traditional workloads that most organizations are supporting and delivering. And what you'll see here in a second, we've gone all the way down in these environments to building these appliances that are really delivered and developed to support these specific workloads, and have also optimized the software and configured the software for those particular workloads. So you'll see that we've optimized the architecture, we've optimized the capacities, we've built in a sense settings and RAID configurations to support on the online archive on the far right, those backup or archive use cases that may be out there. For those environments that may need file shares, we've got hybrid configurations that really are optimized towards that. In the same sense for virtual workloads, and then on the all-flash side for those transactional applications for maybe your databases or more high-intense applications in your environment. Another thing we've partnered really close with the ecosystem here on was the documentation, and we wanted to make this, again, we know there's an expectation when you use the word appliance out there that this is something that's easy for the customer, not just through the procurement and support, but the onboarding of the technology. And so all these solutions will come pre-installed with our Nexenta software on the boxes themselves. They will receive this documentation when they make the purchase. So you can see everything from just sort of the basics to cabling diagrams to you know, how to configure up front to some of the IP interfaces. And so what we're really trying to do is allow partners a real easy manner and a simple installation guide, or customers that are looking to get this up and running and ready to bring on to their environment a very simple, clean, easy to use guide that walks them through really all the basics to rack stack cable and bring it into their environment. And then we've included in this bundle SKU the remote installation services or on-site installation services for some of the larger deployments for customers to have the support of the Nexenta services team to bring this on board. So we've really tried to make this from procurement to installation to onboarding a very clean, easy process for our partners and our customers. The other thing we've done is related to support, and we understand that we want to make this something that there's a comfort level for customers, there's a consistency level, and there's a simplicity level. So we've developed a 3-year support on the hardware and the software for these technologies, which includes a single point of contact for calling of support, and really then triaging and working and owning that case for you. You still leverage the expertise of the partners in these solutions, right? So you've got obviously the support of Boston, Supermicro, Nexenta to really support their technologies, but really centralize all of the calling in a single number in a sense, so that you don't have to guess or troubleshoot who you need to call if it's a hardware, software, or other services. The one thing I will mention in this is the pricing in which we've put together for these SKUs are really supported on the territories of North America, UK, and Germany. So we do have the flexibility to deliver it to other parts of say Europe, but the service and support cost may vary. So if you do have instances or needs or customers that are looking to deploy it outside of those 3 geographies, please just work with Boston, and they can help you get the appropriate quoting to make sure either that pricing or incremental pricing might be needed to support those regions. So with that, folks, that's sort of the high level we wanted to give you on the solutions themselves. Now what we're going to do is we're going to drill a little bit into the specifics around each of the different configurations, and we won't go into every single one in extreme depths. We'll give you a bit of the framework for each. We'll touch on each, and then one thing we will do is provide you the slides afterwards, so you'll have this in reference. So if you look at the first flash configuration, the way in which we've done this again, so this is the 2010 or the 2020 with a 1.92 SSD all flash configuration in this. Again, it supports the feature set in which we've discussed. We've built 2 SKUs. You can see sort of the bottom there, bottom right, one with a half populated and one with a full populated. And these are the usable capacities in which we've developed in these, so you know exactly what based on this configuration you have really available for your environment, and have the ability, again, if you purchase that first SKU ending in NEX 2020, that's the 15 terabyte half populated 1.92 terabytes, and then that second SKU with NEX 2020 on the end is the full populated drive set with a 30 terabytes usable in that. And then for this configuration, we've allow you really to expand either in that initial purchase or down the road to another half populated storage enclosure or another full enclosure. I don't have all the SKUs here because it just makes the slide a bit messy, but those SKUs are available all back through Boston.
Yeah, Don, the point I was going to make here is it really does stress the simplicity of the model within the appliance that we're trying to deploy. So being able to sit down with your customer, size the configuration needed, knowing that over the life cycle of the solution, customer's going to scale to what, 61 terabytes usable, but start low initially. So this gives you the option then to deploy a base configuration, but have modular storage increments that the customer can buy over the years in order to scale up. Great little story.
And Amos, again, if those needs do grow, or they expect that, over time that may, this environment or this workload may need more capacity. The nice thing is there's larger drive capacities that are available out there, and you have the ability to, in this configuration, scale a second shelf to get a little bit more if that's necessary. So really the same hardware in this environment, same configurations, but we just added in a little bit larger drives, and then giving you a little bit more capacity on the 2030 and the 2040 all-flash configurations. On the hybrid, we've got sort of two different models. One is more performance, and the other one is more of a scale type of configuration. And so what we do is when we're looking at that, we've looked at, on the performance side, a little bit smaller drives. So you have 2 terabyte drives on that, and are delivering this. You can see in the 4U form factor, the starter capacity in this is a fully populated configuration, so the 20 terabytes usable. And then you have the ability to add shelves, and as you add that second shelf of a 4U 44 bay drive expansion, you have the ability in that case to then add in those sort of half shelf, full shelf configurations again. So again, giving you the sort of modular options based on more of a performance play on a hybrid configuration, maybe for that virtual workload that you want to just provide a little bit better performance in that customer's environment. The 4020 uses a little bit bigger drives, again, trying to give you a bit more of a capacity play. And as you can see, in this environment, it goes up all the way to 272 terabytes with the second shelf. And then we've really optimized the RAID configuration here too to allow you to get the right configuration for maybe more of a file share type of workload for an environment. And then on the archive side, or the 4030, using a little bit bigger drives and a bit different configuration, and going all the way up to a 640 terabyte usable configuration, right? So you can see here that the nice thing is you can start with a rather nice sized archive type of environment for a certain architecture, and be able to then again scale that as their business scales or their needs scale over time. Again, single SKU here for the base model in which we're sharing. So in that model number there, ending in NEX 4030, you get the 128 terabytes, hardware, software, services, 3 years of warranty on all of that, high availability, complete feature set that's available. Here is a bit of a snapshot of the different systems and kind of rolling this all into one nice clean matrix for you. You can see there's seven starter SKUs for each of these different configurations, and I want to see we have another 25 SKUs right behind that for all those expansion. We've also got, and as part of our follow-up with you, we will be sending not just these slides, but also the data sheet that has this same chart here, because I know it's a bit much to fit onto a single screen. But it should give you a nice, simple, clean configuration to look at, again, as you're sitting down with a customer, their different needs from a capacity performance standpoint, to really narrow down to the right technology that is necessary for them.
If I might interject as well here, Mr. Don.
Yeah.
When it comes to looking at configurations for customers, I would use this single page as your reference point. So you notice in this table, we refer to raw capacity, usable capacity, and effective capacity. So the raw capacity refers to the amount of raw storage which is configured with the disk drives in the different configurations. We then refer to usable capacity, which is the usable capacity after RAID. So all of the appliances have a RAID configuration based on best practice for the particular use case that we envisage being used on that particular appliance. And then the final metric is probably the most important when it comes to the amount of data that your customer is looking to store for the use cases, and that's the effective capacity. And what that is that it looks at incorporating compression, deduplication, based on the compressibility of the data within that particular use case to give the amount of data that that particular appliance would look to store. So that's why I'd have this printed up. You've got the full gamut of different type of systems that we sell there. You've got the range of capacities, and then it's very easy looking at, say, the IOPS produced from the different configurations, the capacity, to work out the system that you should be considering for your customer.
That's great, Elvis. Thank you. So with that, folks, that's our last slide, which we were going to present here on the Nexenta side. I'm going to turn it back over to Boston Bjarne to close us out and cover I think something exciting that we've pulled together.
Okay, so just a thing at the end of this. You heard from Don. We're going to send to you a recording of the session. We're going to send to you the data sheets, and later we're also going to send you a deregistration document, okay, for those of you who are channel partners in the audience. For those of you who are channel partners as well, depending on your own rules, there could be money in it for the channel salesman who uncovers and makes a deal on these appliances, $250 per deal. And we are also willing to give a rebate to the end user of 5% for the first ones. But that depends on local rules. So it's not all companies that are happy that you drive spiffs through their company. Are there any questions, Amos? Did we get any questions here?
There are no questions thus far. So I would urge anyone, if you have any questions, please log them now.
Just like to add to what I said, that pricing, of course, can be obtained by contacting us at Boston. Yeah. Okay, and we also have pre-sales capabilities there, so we can rely on both pre-sales capabilities from Nexenta and from ourselves. So, and also we are known for our big lab. We normally have between £500,000 to £1 million worth of equipment in our lab. We could, for the right cases, be doing proof of concept.
Bjarne and Amos, I mean, one thing I'll add is, hopefully this should be a solution that is interesting and a good fit for a number of your customers, right? So we've really tried to make these simple and easy. I would recommend chatting with the folks at Boston and maybe looking at the pricing too, because we feel like we've really been able to develop outside of the great features in which we've got here and the great solution, the way we package this, something that's priced rather competitively. And across the world, we introduced this, I want to say probably about a month or so ago, and I've seen some nice early success with a number of service providers building their own clouds, a number of sort of retail-ish, healthcare retail organizations that have had some remote offices that have put these into their environments, and you got a nice set of others that are really exploring this. So I think it's priced well, it's really set up to be simple, and hopefully it's something that, as Amos mentioned, is simple to sit down when you have a particular storage need, look at the different options and drill right down to that. Provide a quote to the customers in a very simple, quick manner, because we've done this in a single SKU, and in a lot of cases we've found that then it's really, folks are excited and moving forward, and it's how do we get them the first couple of units to get started.
Okay, gents, I think there are no questions on the chat. So I'd urge you, if you have any questions after this, feel free to reach out to anyone here at the team. As I said, from a UK EMEA perspective, you're more than happy to sit down, discuss customer requirements, talk about the offering in more detail, do a bit of education on the Nexenta technology, kind of talk you through this turnkey solution. We really want to make it as simple as possible. So please contact me. Let's continue the discussion.
Yes, thank you everybody for the time. Truly appreciate it. Bjorn and the Boston team, thank you for the opportunity. I wish everybody a great evening and a wonderful rest of your week. Thank you.